Any questions so far?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yamuna was asking something.
No, nothing from her. Anything from you?
I mean, not about this topic.
Yeah.
Exactly. But when we talk about holistic, nurturing a child holistically, do you have any example for us to look forward to, that this person was raised holistically? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I want to understand how a person is when they are,
Holistic.
holistically, brought up. The whole the childhood has been very holistic.
So
Because right now I don't know of an example which I can.
okay. Yeah. So head oriented is the intelligent kind of a thing, right? Where they have a lot of information and all those things about, they may know the distance from here to Delhi, or Delhi to Bombay, what is photosynthesis, all that is there, very abstract ideas, right? This is the knowledge part. Now let's say you followed the head, heart and hands, like I told you earlier, story of holistic development, right? Look at the three characters, Amar, Akbar and Ajay, right? That means tomorrow, let's say your parents have come, is a 10-year-old boy or a 12-year-old boy or a girl, and your parents have come home, they got some luggage with them. No, you're busy in the kitchen or something, they come. A holistic child would be, hey, granny, grandpa, let me take that bag. Come, give me a one bag at least. Right? Because they're able to emphasize that old people, right? Life force is going down. Can I step in? I can't carry the big suitcase. I'm still young, but give me the chotu bag. I'll take it. Right? Can I help that? Right? You're empathizing. The heart is there in that. It's not about intellectualizing, but why there anyway? They got two hands. Why should they need that? They're carrying anyway. That's a logical answer. They got two hands. They're carrying. If they need, then I'll help. It's like arguing on that, right? But heart doesn't look like that. The heart element, when it is strengthened, is like, okay, it's not just the mathematics of two bags, two hands they're carrying. It's, hey, there is a certain age there. There is a certain thing they need help. So that kind of heart coming in, right? And if you say, hey, can you just go get some medicines for them, or can you just remind them to give medicines for this, grandparents if they're 14, 15-year-old kids? Can they do that for the child? Or it's like, hey, it's not my business. Why should I do it? It's their medicine. They should take it, right? A holistic child will be like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. I know you're not telling me every day, but today, because you're going out, no problem, I'll do it, right? That having that empathy, having that kind of development is the holistic development, right? Not just having intellectual. These are the kids who will go on to become leaders in their organization, right? It's not the intelligence. Nobody wants intelligence. Intelligence, you can get it and hire them up. These kind of skills which somebody steps up with will the other persons will get promoted, what we call social emotional intelligence today. No, we've given fancy names, but it's the same. Head, heart, and hands. So the hands, when we build, they procrastinate less. They get things done. They build good habits because they know that it takes hard work to do anything in life, right? So these children are generally somebody who's willing to put in that hard work in their college years, right? They understand, okay, it takes, I may not be the brightest kid, but I'm ready to work hard and get those marks, right? So these are the holistic, what you can say, markers, right? So you have to look for these markers of the head, hat, and hands, right? What is hands? Are they willing to do? Hey, go fold the clothes here. The child wakes up in the morning, okay, folds their bed, makes their bed, keeps it back. Maybe not perfect, little untidy, that's okay, but making the bed, coming back, maybe asking. So that's the hand part, right? You're doing it. It's a job. It's a habit that you created. Then you comes home. Maybe you're struggling with something. You have a lot of people at home. Some guests have come. Then can I lay the table, or you want me to serve something at the table, right? You want me to serve the guests something or take water. I'm not cooking. You're cooking and all that. But can I at least help them do something around the house, right? Or even if they don't ask, and if you say, hey, can you do this? Can you just keep this on the table? They will not make that kind of a fuss, right? Because today you don't see that. If you talk to parents, see anywhere, the kids will throw tantrum. They will not be even bothered. They will be not able to stand up for themselves. And in the peers, when they become peers, if they have not given good framework in the early years before 14, then they will not know how to stand up against their peers. They will not know how to say no to them. No, I need to go home because my parents need me for something. I'll come back. Okay, not that they can't. They will not argue with you and everything will be smooth. They will argue with you and they will fight and all that. But when it comes time to show what they have to do, they will do it. Right? At the same time, intelligent or creative enough to create solutions. Right? So, what is intelligence or intellect and knowledge? Knowledge is primarily more of information and how you use it in some sort of way, right? Intellect is something that all of us have, including plants and animals. Plants have their own intelligence on how to do photosynthesis. No book has been read. They know what they should do and they go ahead and do it. Animals have their own intellect of what we should eat, not eat. They will eat it, nature. Human beings also have nature. To share a story about this child father who was working from home, and young kid, 5, 6 year old, 5, 6 year old, 6 year old something, and would come and constantly disturb the dad, right? And the father was like in a meeting and is getting irritated, like he's not giving. He told him, just wait 10, 15 minutes, I'll come back and I'll talk to you and all that. And it's gonna, so he just excused himself. He said, let me just occupy my child and come back, right? And he saw a newspaper, in the big newspaper, where there was a nice big map of the world, right? And he had already educated his child about, okay, this map and this and that. The child had not understood something dad has told, okay, some information, some are not there. So he tore up that map into small bits, that newspaper, that world map, right, with all the continents, countries, and told the child, okay, I want you to join and stick it up with a tape or glue and something and bring it back. Okay. So he thought, okay, this, I think it should take at least easily more than an hour for the child to figure this out, hour and two. By the time my meeting will be done, I'll come back to it. I'll be a little free. So went back to his meeting. After 15, 20 minutes, the child has come back, showing the world map. So father was like, how is my child so brilliant that he's remembering all the continents and maps of the world and everything? So the child said, no, daddy, it's not that. Look behind. There is a man's face. Child didn't understand the world map, didn't remember anything the father has thought about this world map, nothing. Commonsensically knew the human face. Behind was the human face, stuck the human face properly together, eyes and where eyes should come, nose where nose should come, automatically became the world map on the opposite side. Right? This is not book knowledge. This book will not tell you to do it. This is intelligence. Right? So you have to build the capacity for intellect, not worry about, do they remember the continent where Africa? Okay, that also is important, no doubt. Right? So coming back to your question is, how can we build these kinds of sets? Okay. I'll share another story of this boy, okay, who I worked with for a couple of years. He was part of my program and he joined teenager. He was already a teenager, okay, 13 years old. And after again 2-3 years, and one of the days we had this program, I sometimes do an outdoor program called stargazing. And there were about some 60-70 people who were attending. And we had camping tents and everything. And later in the night, it became cloudy. So we said, okay, we're going to break. We'll gather in the morning again, right? And it started pouring lots of rain. Lots of rain. People's tent also water started coming, right? And I had gone to another room and I was sleeping there because I wanted to wake up morning 3 o'clock to start the program. So this boy who had also was there, he got up. He got an umbrella from the house. And he went to each tent asking them, and he brought them back in that heavy rain back to the house for shelter. Each time going back up and down, himself getting drenched, but coming back. He was not like that. He was quite lazy when he joined me. And he was also not that empathetic about everybody. But once you build that head, heart, and hands, you can see the change in the human being. Right? People were impressed. They were like, who is this boy who's doing this? Right? I said, take a break, Abhay. He said, no, I will go, Captain. I'll just go again. And he went again. Okay? He is also a very good tabla player. He practices regularly. His mother called me after a couple of years. She said he practices his tabla so religiously now. I don't have to tell him at all that he has to do it. That's the resilience that you want to build, right? And he had, because of his dedication, he got called to assist. I mean, one of the junior assistants to assist Zakir Hussain. Why? Because the dedication shows it will take you there. Your head, heart, and hands, when you build, it will help you become a legend, get closer to a legend. So this is the holistic development talking. Dedication in your craft, the tabla, intelligent, okay, is okay in studies. That's, I mean, decent, fairly decent. Empathetic, that he could care about other human beings and help them. He can say, I'm playing for Zakir Hussain, I will not come and do all this. So that is the holistic development of a human. Yeah. Still doubts, anything? Okay. So coming back.
Captain, are you saying that if someone has not learned this from a very young age, they can still develop these things after 20s?
Difficult, not impossible. More effort has to be put. The individual has to, after 15 especially, the individual must have the interest to change, then can be done. If the individual is coming to change because parents are pushing them, hey, you go there, go become better, it's very difficult. The person comes, no, I want to better, enough of the past. Can you help me now? Yes, absolutely. Hard work is there, no doubt, can be helped.
On another note, so can we change as in if we really want to change?
Yes, you can. You have to go back to that and heal, right? I'll share one more thing, though I may have told or not. Example, especially since you have a young child, I want to share this, right? Many times, why I told you that fourfold was allow the natural evolution of the human being to happen, right? It's a phase, just like plant. I told you at a macro level, at a earth development level, how it happened. Coming back to the human being is also that, first is what? Baby is sitting, not moving anywhere. Then baby sits, and then the baby stands, right? This is the natural evolution, right? And by the fourth, the baby is talking, or the child is talking. So if it's year 1, 2, 3, 4, this is the natural stages of the human child, right? Now, what is happening is there is this sense of urgency in parents. Okay. Either they feel that they miss out, it could be a FOMO, or it could be a comparison with the neighbor's child, could be maybe my sister's child is like that, brother's child is like that, this is like that, my child is not doing those things. There is a little bit of anxiety with that. Okay. So now let's say with this 2-year-old child, they want to speeden up the walking. Okay. Oh, your child started walking at 2.5. My child did it in 2 years. Okay. We interfere. What we'll do, we'll put them into one crawler. Right? Now, when we do this, there is a price to pay in the human development, right? Because everything has been designed, the human evolution been designed, so it builds the next level. It's like a game, right? It takes you, prepares one level, prepares you to go to the next level, prepares you to go to the next level, next level. Now, let's say because of the crawler, the baby skips crawling. Not crawler, yes, baby skips crawling, right? Directly goes from sitting to directly walking out, right? Now, what does crawling do? We must ask. Crawling, when the four legs are moving, there's a coordination. You can't crawl. If you try, if I ask you to crawl now, in fact, I want you to crawl. Switch off the video. Just crawl. Okay, it's a silly exercise, but try it out and come back. Did you all crawl? Yeah. So there is a coordination, right? You can't move both right together, both, it has to be one right, one left, right? It goes like that, zigzagging. So what it does is, it's called the spatial plane, right? Our nose spatial plane, this side and that side are the left and right. The spatial planes crisscross. That is how intelligence is built, right? So now, when we skip that, we don't do this kind of a movement on the ground like the animal and directly try to become the human, the intelligence is misfiring afterwards. So this shows up as speech disability later on. Okay. Most people today, I see a lot of people coming to me, speech, what to do. I got an 18-year-old boy with a disability certificate saying that, and he has lost his confidence. Nice. He's a hands guy. You can see him. He's all strong and everything, confident, but he's very lacks confidence in his talk. He's very, the moment you want to talk, he will hold back. He will step back. Okay. Why? Because I asked then if he is not crawled, he's got speech disability. So I put him up through a 6 months program where his only work was to crawl. He said, I'm 18, 19-year-old. I said, I don't care, 18, 19-year-old. You're going to crawl every day, 10 minutes at home. Right? So then what happened? His speech started better and better. He's now giving speeches in college. Right? So this is what happens. Allow the soul development of the human, allow them to go through that phases. Don't interrupt with human made, because we are in a hurry to go from step through bypass 3 and go to 4 or something like that. Right? With tampering, with, it's been designed, evolution has been designed like that. Right? So of course, what is parenting at that phase is making sure they're nurtured in the body, nutritious food. They don't know what to eat. Whatever you give them, they will eat. Right? What kind of food I want to give them. That's the nourishment you do. Right? Educating them on that. Educating them to recognize life force, be able to tell I'm full, I can't eat anymore, or I'm hungry. Educating them on their own body is the education of the parent. Allowing them to be able to come. I got hurt, my hand is paining, okay, what's happening? Okay, it's better. Yeah, feeling better than yesterday. I'm getting fever. All their body related stuff, of course, potty training and all that is included. Able to walk, able to throw a ball, able to do some basic stuff, body education, able to run, play, climb something, climb a tree, evolutionarily what they did, because it has got a long-term repercussion of how intellect is being developed internally, how those neurons are paths. Till scientifically, they've been told that up to 11 years, your neurons are in a express building. They are like constantly building neural pathways. That means the intellect is getting built. Naturally, it has been designed to get us to this stage, right? So at that time, the parenting is about less interference. Yeah, Abba, yeah.
Captain, actually, I have a cousin. I don't know if for her case, her son was actually very healthy, very on the fatter side, very, very healthy.
Give me age context. Yeah.
He was, I think, 2 years, 1 or 2,
Okay. Now 2 years or
maybe
that time?
1 year. When he was very, very, very fat actually. So she told that when he started, he was sitting and then he started to walk. He didn't crawl.
Mm.
She simply said that because he was very heavy, he was not able to crawl and he just simply started
Walking.
walking. Yeah, I mean, slowly walking, but he didn't crawl.
Mm.
And I thought maybe because some kids are very, on the healthier side or very fat, they don't crawl and they directly
Mm.
walk. Does that happen? I mean, is it
It
difficult
could happen. It could happen. The
and will
child
that
is
have an
sitting.
effect on their
It will have an effect. Yes, it will have an effect, right?
speech and other things?
Speech could be slow, could be delayed, right?
But I don't think she has any problem with that.
Then probably then it is okay because there was no tampering as such naturally, or could have crawled but not noticeable enough for the parents to make it like, oh, he's crawled so much. Right? It's not going to be like not crawl at all. They would have just crawled one or two and got that item what they want. See, children naturally are curious. You don't need to give them curiosity. They're naturally curious, right? Their will is supreme. The will means if they say they want something, they want it done, right? If they want that thing on the table,
Can I just say something?
yeah, yeah, Yamuna, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just listening to what Abba was saying, and so I have a niece who's now 16, 17 years old, and it just reminded me of her. What were you saying? So as a child, as a baby, she was really big built. She was a very plump child. If you on side, she will just sit there. She will not move because she's a heavy child. Whereas my kid used to be this really, he still is a slim kid, and he was overly active. So my sister now would say that I'm so used to my daughter because she just sits in one place. Just proper. Whereas Yophilus, he's too wriggly. He jumps out of my hand. So I find it difficult to hold him. But I'm just thinking retrospectively that today the child, that's my niece, she she has epilepsy. I would not attribute it for lack of crawling, but this is something I also saw. So my son goes to a Waldorf school, and one of the teachers he had with knowledge on Waldorf and Steiner education and things. Epilepsy. She developed suddenly. She used to get high fever, and over a period of time, she actually started having epileptic fits. And one was that her movement was not enough. So she actually asked the parents to do some particular kind of movements to ensure that the child does not have epilepsy so often. And I remember the parents saying that it did work. It's the cure for epilepsy that you start going in into cure, but maybe I think like what Captain is saying, there must be some kind of correlation is how I would look at it at this point. And I'm just mulling over.
Yeah. Thank you, Yamuna, for sharing. It's possible, like I said, we don't know how it can impact sometimes, right? What I'm trying to emphasize is if that is the natural evolutionary phase of the child, then let the child go through that phase. So, what was I saying? Yeah. So to allow that natural phase to go through, right? And allow the human being to develop in that phase so that we have done that kind of education of parenting in the early years, right? And it will change. I will come into more details later. I'm just trying to cover some base here, what all things we can do. And yeah, that is the one. Something else you were asking about, I've lost track.
Nothing else, Captain.
Nothing else, right? Okay. So on the child, yeah, if the child is able to speak well, and does the child have any other issues as such now? How old is the child currently?
Now he's 6.
6. Is there anything else other than that, or is quite okay?
It's quite okay.
Okay.
But I think he has some vision problem.
Okay.
Aspects
That,
and all.
that could
I don't
be
know if that is.
that is completely the digital media. I think we'll dedicate tomorrow for that, and it's a beast by itself, and how to tackle that. Yeah. So we'll come to that on that. So it's good if there is nothing issue, great, but don't bring in any external aids if it's not required, right? There are kids who got genetic developmental issues, physical deformities. They're understandable. These kind of tools help because you need to give them confidence because their natural body shapes are not allowing, right? Not as a speed tool so that we feel good that our child is progressing faster. We actually should be worried. Hey, why am I in this thing? What could be the price that I would be paying by speeding up like this? So one of the things that I have realized with time is if there is some difficult child, whatever somebody comes to me and say they have a difficult child, most of the time the children are acting as mirrors to ourselves, right? Give me a moment. So the children are acting as mirrors. That means they are showing us our weaknesses, our problems, right? And most of the time the 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 cure is in the parents doing the work, them kind of doing the changes in their lifestyle, in their house, in how they are around children, which is really the cure. Maybe 10-15% with the child, but very rarely. The younger the child, more actions from the parents. They are basically a mirror. That's why we get irritated. When they are doing something, they are actually mirroring us. The same weakness is in us, and we get angry. Why are they not better than us? Why are they doing the same thing that I would do? Right? So just become mindful that they are our mirrors. They show what our likes and dislikes are. So anytime you feel there is challenge, then it's like, okay, what is it that I am doing that this issue is coming up, right? And the power to change that also is with parents. The power to give it to the child is also with parents and to take it back also. Like every child is born on a clean slate. Every child is born on a clean slate, right? Does not matter if it's Bill Gates' child or this child, that child, anybody in Africa, everybody clean slate, right? On top of that, we start imprinting the beliefs, conditions, habits, right? And that is what will separate the winners from the average. That will separate the balanced from the unbalanced.
Captain, some kids are, but some like some are blessed with certain talents and
Yep.
other things.
Yeah. So there is something called the genetic stream, right? You have a genetic stream and you have your normal spiritual stream. That means a normal human growth and development, right? So the genetic stream, they say, is only about 20% that affects you. Okay. So 20% you have some genetic stream. Let's say a musician's child. Okay. We can say, oh, he's a musician's child. That's why he's also a musician. But more than the genetic stream, it is being in the environment of a music family. All the time listening to music conversation about this chord and that one and this one, singing and music. So what happens is naturally the environment builds a child. It's nothing to do with genetics there, right? So when you're constantly bombarded by them, you constantly become that. Any child is like, you look at anybody whose child has also become something, it's a constant environment that contributes to it more than any genetic stuff. I can understand in sports and athletics, yeah, you have a certain build, and that build helps you uh, become a champion in a certain sport. So your environment plays a massive role, what you control. See, first, I want to ask another question to you all. What is the earliest memory? What age can you go back yourself to your own earliest memory? Go as far back as you can. Not something your parents told you, but you yourself remember.
For me, it will be 10 years.
10 years, nothing before that.
But I know things, but I can't visualize myself like that.
Think back. You have to think back. Okay. Good thing you brought it
4
out.
years, four to
I
five
think it's a
years. I
homework
was
for
in
you.
nursery.
Sorry, I didn't get you, Sandeep.
4 to 5 years.
4 to 5 years. Okay, fair
I was
enough.
in nursery.
If you dig deep, you'll get one more lower than that. Okay. You can do this later also. I mean, you can do this at home, just reflect. Maybe you're sharing something about your childhood and you'll remember something. Maybe that will lead to another older memory, which you didn't even know was buried down, right? It's there. And come to that and see what that first memory was. Was it a happy or not so happy? What is it that you remember, right? And like to give you an example, is there was this child who was part of my program. She was 15, 16 years old and little sad. Okay, she's a little sad all the time, a little not so thing. And I asked her, "Hey, what's your earliest? What do you remember?" She said she's in US. Okay, Indian girl in US. She said last thing I remember was there was one. We were going to some park and one a guy came charging, scolding me. She said that's my earliest memory. So because of that, earliest memory is that it had a repercussion on how she spoke to strangers. She was always wary and scared. Right? Can you see how it is connected? Later, 10, 12 years later, no, we had no control on that. So I said, okay, let's dig deep. Let's go down more. Okay, go ask. Some more stories later, she came back with another memory. She said, I remember sitting in class, absolutely bored with the class before this. I said, good, but not good enough. Let's go more. Then she came down to some time when she was playing in the sand or something, a nice, pleasant memory of a childhood, or something I can't remember now. But I wanted her to hold on to that memory, not the gardener scolding her or some bored in class kind of a memory. Right? Of course, you can't do anything to your child. Your child will tell when they are older. But what I'm trying to tell you is for your own childhood to know where you are, to heal that if there is.
So you're saying some of these stay forever, as in, and
Yes,
we reflect.
absolutely. Yes, it stays forever. Right? It affects who you are, how you behave.
That that will be just a fraction of
Yeah.
moments.
The younger you are, the more impressionable you are. There was one person who was part of the program who came from a war-torn area, constantly moving houses because of the war. Okay, European, constantly moving because of the war there. And that left a very uneasy feeling as an adult for her, right? So she had to work on that era, that 7 years, pre-7 years, for her to really heal and move on. That's what today all the psychologists are saying, that most of the issues adults face always and always goes back to childhood.
Actually, Captain, if I think about it, my daughter, she's generally sad. You know,
Mm,
like, she's, I don't know. I've seen people who are generally happy, and like,
mm,
she's not like us. I mean,
mm,
none of us are like that. But
mm,
when I see, she is, when she sits and something is upsetting her. But
mm.
there's nothing. I ask her, and she said nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
I
She's
may
too
bored.
small. That deep reflection, the question that you're asking
That
comes
makes me
for deep
worry,
reflection.
actually.
Yeah. So that comes only after 30. That kind of question to answer, a human being, just like I told you, developmental phases, a human being develops the capacity to do such deep reflection after they are 33, to be exact. Okay. Until then, if you talk to a 24-year-old, they can't do this deep. They may be intelligent, more bright than all of us put together, right? But they cannot do this deep reflection. So it comes back to your daughter now, because we can't go, she's too young to even tell that. What you can
But
do,
yeah, but
tell
same thing I've seen my son. Sorry, sorry to
son,
interrupt you.
son.
My son, that he is always smiling
Hmm.
and very playful and happy, while my daughter is always a little angry
Yeah.
and some sad. Totally
So coming back, good thing you raised this son's question also. So the
sorry.
earliest memory is known to hover around 3 years, 3.5, 4 years also. So like how Sandeep said, 4 years also okay. Yeah, three and a half. So that's where you have to go back to, as deep as that, right? So before 3 years, there is no memory. So your son is in a zone where no impression is being created. It's a slate clean. Little writing, but it's clean. Yes, there's going to be little smudge marks on the chalk, like if it's a chalk thing, but it's getting cleaned. But your daughter's is now slowly, some marks are being left here and there, right? Because she's more than 3 years. So your son's memory will start building once he starts talking. That's the next ego. The first ego is where when he stood straight up, and when he stands straight up. The second one is when he starts talking. And even in talking, not just any talking, initially children will talk like they will use their own name, like, Rahul wants ice cream. This is Rahul's daddy, Rahul's mommy. It's a third party kind of reference, third person reference, right? And slowly it will come down to, no, I want ice cream. That's when the memory starts. Whether it will stick or not, different issue. That's the start of your memory, right? So now when your child starts using that, at that time you have to be more careful, even if you're not careful now, right? What is the kind of environment he's going? Not that now also you should, but it's even more impressionable there. Now it's like everything like a sponge, you will start absorbing, right? And if it happens, you can't stop it. You have no control on this memory, right? You can just hope for the best. Now that is the memory where I say where it will start and what you can, why your son is still different. He's still smiling because there is no memory. He's still in a very spiritual world. He's still in that envelope of spiritual, covering. He's not still come to the human world. Still a baby, godly, they say. Even the child comes and kicks you, is still a god, they say. His kick means nothing. Right? There is no I there for him to kick. There's no ego built in that he's coming and kicking with, okay, I'm angry, I'm kicking you now. So coming back to a child, you can tell her a lot of good stories or happy stories of her childhood, even though she's still child, 2, 3 years back. Could be like, hey, you remember that day we went garden, you were doing this. Tell us a happy moment. Maybe you're the grandfather, you'd go and climb on top of him and you do this and that, right? Something, who is it? Tell me more. Children love the stories of their own lives. Everybody loves. Okay? So tell them those kind of stories. So you can at least hope that one of them stick and that becomes her new memory. I mean, we're not trying to tamper, but we're telling the real story, but more positive ones and not emphasizing the negative ones as much. Right? So then she changes the nature of what kind of person she grows up, the kind of confidence she has, and things like that. Yeah. So like I mentioned, that children's problems are a reflection of our own confusion, and children act like a thermometer. If parent is the body, children are like the thermometer, right? If child's making you angry and something upsetting you, that means something is not working with the parents. That's why the children is the thermometer. They're showing, oh, this. Then you have to look, okay, what should I do to get myself better, especially young kids, right? So till they're 22, definitely it's going to play a significant role, and slowly it starts to reduce. By 15, kind of you're at the end of the parenting journey as such. But spiritually, the parenting journey ends at 24. Not that you have any parenting to do there, but parent. On paper, you'll remain parent for the rest of their lives. But as a parent, it's all over. It's them, they're on their own, right? So by 2021 only, it stopped. It'll just be it's the last fag end, just cutting the cord kind of a thing. Right? Though from a government perspective, they may be an adult at 18 because they need more vote banks, and that's what it's nothing to do with this government, any government, right? But as a parent in the world, that's where it ends. So anytime, like I said, it is about changing our own behavior. It is changing, becoming mindful of how we are carrying ourselves as parent is what the parenting is about. Is my screen frozen? Okay.
Yes.
One of the skill sets, especially for young parents or any parent, is to learn observation, right? Because really, where is the book that teaches about parenting? There's nothing like that, right? The child is the book that you have to learn to read, right? And the more you become better at it, the more smoother will be your parenting journey, right? On top of that, all these things that I'm giving you, the techniques and tools will only help to know which technique to apply when and how much and all that. Yeah. So the main thing is to know how to observe the child, how to make sure, okay, just like a fever, right? You'll like thermometer, I said. So you will give the medicine till the fever is there. After that, you will not continue to give the medicine, right? Same thing with this. So you need to observe your child better and better so that you will know exactly when to start the technique, when to stop the technique. So that's a skill. So we will take a 10-minute break, okay, and we'll come and or 10 to 15 minute, take say 15-minute break, and we'll come back and I'll give you an exercise in between to do 5-minute exercise with that. Okay, so 10-minute break, 5-minute exercise, right? Go and observe some inanimate object, okay, preferably non man-made, like a rock or something like that, right? Some stone, if you have, not a chair or something like that, not like a mineral item, right? Second thing is, do you have a plant at home? Okay, observe one plant. Okay. Third, if you have a pet, good. If you can observe, if not, observe your child itself. Observe 2-3 minutes, anyone, right? Just observe for 2 minutes. It's okay if you take 5-10 minutes also, but observe. And what will you observe? Observe very factual things. Oh, the stone is looking red color. It's got a lot of dust on it. Facts which nobody will dispute, right? If I also watch, yeah, it is red color. It has got dust. It is nothing. Then add some emotion. I kind of dislike. It's quite disgusting to look at. That's an opinion. You feel, maybe somebody will say, no, it's not disgusting. It's an opinion there, right? So both these elements, your emotion, how you're feeling about that object, and what is the facts you can see, right? If my child is playing with toy teddy bear, that's a fact. There's nothing that my son or daughter is playing with a teddy bear, that's a fact, right? Why is he going to fall off that chair, I think, right? That's an opinion, right? That maybe Sandeep may say yes and you may say no, or whatever the case may be, right? That's an opinion. So become aware of these two, your emotions, your opinions, and fact, 3 things. How are you feeling? Emotions, facts, and opinions of an object, of a plant, and of your child. Yeah. And it's 3:30 now. Maybe around 3:45, we will meet up. Yeah. You can switch off your videos and you can just stay logged in and we can meet up.